So the Oscars were pretty good this year, and I wanted to do a video about them. I usually don't do a video about the Academy Awards, and I usually don't watch them all the way through, but this was the first time in, I think, literally 17 or 18 years that I've watched almost all of the ceremony. About halfway, my wife was like, you gotta go do something, so I ran a quick errand, about 10 minutes, I came back. I didn't miss anything. I mean, this was the 2017 Oscars. Apparently it was many records. It was apparently the longest Oscars telecast. It was almost 4 hours. It had the lowest ratings in 10 years. It was from the high in 2000. It was like, it's projected to have 34 million viewers. The high was back in 2000, but that was back, I mean, there was so many good films that year, big movies. There was, I believe that was the year of The Green Mile and American Beauty and Cider House Rules and all that stuff. This year was decidedly low energy, with many niche, what I would describe as niche titles vying for Best Picture. Things like Moonlight and Hidden Figures and La La Land, stuff which, you know, I think the only film which I would say is real populist entertainment, Hacksaw Ridge, it got Best Editing, I believe, or was that Best Sound? Editing, I believe. And but that's the only real crowd pleaser a real general audience crowd pleaser that I saw in the running. I mean, imagine Hacksaw Ridge in like the late 90s or early 2000s. It would be like a Thin Red Line level. It would be a big film. But there were, you know, but I think one of the reasons why I watched it all the way through is I had a feeling somebody was going to go off on some goofy political rant and do something, and that didn't really happen. I mean, there was like this passive-aggressive, like anti-new administration, anti-Trump thing running through the film, running through the whole telecast. People talk about unity and keeping it together and all of this stuff, but it was very low energy. The whole thing was low energy. It kind of, I think the host, Jimmy Kimmel, set the tone. Very low. He's a very low energy, kind of very snarky, self-deprecating type of a late night type of dude, and he kind of set the tone for this kind of very low energy, kind of low key type of telecast. He was okay. He wasn't that bad. I mean, I like him as a host. He's not. You know, he's not my favorite late night show, but I don't think I really have any favorite late night show anymore. They're just kind of all off the rails. His opening intro and things, it was very, again, he's not going to get up and do a song and dance like Billy Crystal and some other bullshit anymore. Though I have to tell you, I like Billy Crystal. You know, he did it a long time, and I think he wasn't that bad. But he started taking digs at the crowd, but then it was weird. I noticed that he like reused a joke. He talked about somebody's movie, and then he's like, "Oh, I didn't see it. It's great." And then he turned to Viggo Mortensen, and he's like, "Now we give nominations to movies that nobody goes to see." Captain Fantastic and his Brown Dirt Cowboy Band. I don't know. I hear that title, Captain Fantastic. I can't help not think of Elton John and that incredible album cover, and that's all I can think about. I don't even know if it's a good movie. And then inside my head, I start singing the first track from the Elton John Captain Fantastic album, Captain Fantastic. You know, it's just like, is it going to be a movie about that? Is it going to be like a dramatization about, because it wasn't, I mean, Captain Fantastic was a guy who led the kids, right, in the song, in the whole story. I don't know, I'm getting off the rails. If you're not a classic rock fan, then you have no idea. And it's like I'm talking gibberish right now. But he started, which felt kind of weird. He was reusing the jokes, kind of cheesy, you know. But I mean, I mean, this was again the lowest Oscars in a while, and I think it's a shame because I think in the past 5 to 8 years they've been trying to cut to the quick. They start, within less than 10 minutes they've got a nominee. There was a low point with it where they were doing like interpretive dance for the best. It was just ridiculous. You had to go through so much. You had to go through this gigantic song and dance before you got to the nominees and who's going to get the awards and the drama and the happiness and the nominations and the defeat and all. That's the stuff that we're interested in. It's like this reality TV show contest type of a mentality, what we're interested in. And it's also, an industry thing. It's for them, so it's self-congratulatory and a lot of self-congratulatory flagellation and all of that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, you look at the late 80s and early 90s, television has changed. People are watching. They're not, into television programs. They may not have cable. They don't have a satellite. They watch things on the internet at any time that they want. And then, so the television has changed. Movies have changed. Movies aren't as big as the 80s and the 90s. They're just something. They're making more money than ever. But there's just that. And you look at the Oscar broadcast from when I was growing up in the 90s, where I almost, in the late 80s, almost religiously, which I used to watch. They're big shows. And you notice also something, a subtle thing that I've noticed is most of the Oscars from the 80s and the 90s, they're really bright. They're very bright. I noticed that when I was watching this just vague clip. I was looking back at the Oscars. I was watching this clip of Madonna singing her song from Dick Tracy, and it's very classy and it's bright. It's just a bright show, and for as long as I can remember, for the past 10 or 15 years, the Oscar stages are this cave, this dark, deep cave full of all kinds of active lighting and stuff that's like a Pink Floyd light show going on behind these people's heads. But it's very dark and dour, and it almost doesn't feel like classic Hollywood. It feels like some kind of classic Hollywood seen through the prism of some kind of weird minimalist designer or something. But the thing, even though it was so long, I mean, I think the broadcast really cut to the quick. It really moved fast. I think there were some interesting moments that I thought were interesting. I mean, the Viola Davis speech that she made when she won her Oscar, very, very impassioned. I mean, I wasn't crying or breaking up, but I could see the speech being taken two ways. I mean, you could see in an ego-driven Hollywood who thinks they know better than anyone else. I'll first of all talk about her speech. She said that some of the best stories are from the grave. They're stories from dead people, and I think she was making a vague or not so vague allusion to August Wilson, the playwright behind Fences, the movie that she starred in with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis. She did it on stage, and then has done the screen version. He died, I think, like 11 years ago, and you could see her comments as being, very condescending, and us intelligent, impassioned artists in Hollywood, we are the only persons who can tell the stories of the little people who will die unremarkable, unremembered, but us in Hollywood, we can tell those stories because we're special. I didn't take it that way, though. I mean, I took it in the way that I think it was meant, in that as an artist, you're trying to embody the characters and take these stories from which are slices of life and fiction sometimes, and collections of fiction based on real people and real emotions and real things that humans of whoever they are go through. And you could tell that I really took it in the best possible way. I mean, it was one of the best. It was simple, it was direct, it wasn't full of bullshit. It was one of the best Oscar speeches I've ever heard. Really good. There was a little political speeches. Gael Garcia Bernal had to come up and talk about walls in a very stilted, staged speech, which was obviously he was reading it from a teleprompter. It was weird because he was a presenter. He wasn't receiving any award, but he's just like, hey, then I'm about to give out the award, but let me give out my political speech. And it felt very much like a stop. Okay, now we have to give our political speech. And it was very, very vaguely worded, very watered down, very intentionally meant to be kind of non-offensive, yet signaling their liberal intent and that we don't like this. And it was like a sanctioned version of that Michael Moore speech when the big Oscar like crazy like was Michael Moore in Bowling for Columbine like over 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, where he went crazy and talking about Bush and and all stuff on the stage and getting all these boos and crazy stuff. I thought I was going to see something like that on this broadcast, but no. Gael Garcia Bernal was just talking about how he considers himself a migrant. He goes all over the world and makes these films, and he opposes any walls that separate us. So according to Gael Garcia Bernal, he doesn't like walls. So if you're actually crewing on a Gael Garcia Bernal film, like his TV show Mozart in the Jungle or anything like that, and you see him walk into his trailer, if you want to say hello, just go on in, say hello. There's no walls. Gael Garcia doesn't care about walls. If he's in his house, if he's in his mansion in Mexico, and you want to go in, just knock on the gate. Knock on the gate. The gate's going to be open because Gael Garcia Bernal does not care about walls. He opposes walls. Walls are bad. I'm here. I'm looking at. Look at that. Do you hear that? Wall. Not a friend of Gael Garcia Bernal. Obviously I get his intent, and duly noted, but it was so watered down and so meant to be kind of, this is our message. It was vague, and also the Iranian filmmaker who of course won for Best Foreign Film for The Salesman, I believe, or was it the salesman? It actually looked like an interesting film. The clips I saw, he didn't appear. There was some issues with him being able to, visit our country, and there was the whole red speech. I want to actually reread that because it was so long and vague and just mincing words. If you want to say fuck Trump, just say fuck Trump. Just come out and do it, man. Just have some fucking balls to just say whatever. It's good, it's bad, it's this. It was just this. Again, it was just this non-committal, this whole non-committal, low-energy night. You had this long speech from this Iranian filmmaker talking about, I don't know. It went in one ear, went out the other. I don't know. It could have been the most powerful thing I've ever heard. I was really more touched by Viola Davis, and then that guy Mahershala Ali, who won the first award they gave out, the quick early award they give out now. Yeah, get you hooked. He sounded really thankful and honest, a real craftsman, and it was like that stuff. The pure emotion that really gets me, not the phony bony, 2 or 3 minutes of political BS and all of this shit. It's someone who was emotion and passion, real emotion and passion, coming up and talking about something. But I think those were the only two things: the Iranian guy and Gael Garcia Bernal, and then there was some vague commentaries on keeping it together, and then we had a lot of firsts. There was a lot of firsts this year. The first time that someone living has been put in memoriam. Somebody, well, it was it was the correct person. It was Janet, but the picture was of someone who's still alive. So it was real. There was a real kind of fast and loose feeling this year. And then of course the whole screw up, the very end of the screw up where really Faye Dunaway, not Warren Beatty, but Warren Beatty was classy. He didn't throw Faye Dunaway under the bus. Faye Dunaway announced the wrong Best Picture winner, and La La Land came up, and then Moonlight had to come up. I mean, I don't think it was staged in any way. There is some, the conspiracy theorists are coming out and claiming no, but it was an embarrassment. I mean, it really embarrassed both films. Moonlight really didn't get to come up and have the kind of Barry Jenkins, the director of Moonlight, and the Moonlight people didn't get to come up and kind of have their light shine, and it was this hurried, it's the end of the show, because usually they announce the best picture, and then the guys are getting on thank you. They give them a little more time than the other things. The other awards, and then the host comes on, thank you for showing it, because by that point it's almost 4 hours. Goodbye, and then cut the commercial, everybody flies Delta and Marriott and blah blah blah, and then goodbye, see you next year. And in this case, they were doing that, they were wrapping it up, and then it was like, Moonlight won. And it was like danger, Will Robinson. I don't think this year that they had the. Usually they make a big joke about the two people with the suitcases of the awards, and they're handcuffed to the suitcase, and I don't think they did that shtick this year. And it seemed like the one year where they stopped doing that shtick, now they have this gigantic screw up, this gigantic colossal screw up, and. You could tell that Warren Beatty didn't know what to do. He hands it to Faye, La La Land, And it's funny because they've zoomed in. I've seen people zoom in, and you could see that on the envelope it says Best Actress. It was a weird year with a lot of firsts. Best director. Lots of stuff, lots of strange stuff going on, but a low-key year with these low-key niche films. Though I think I really want to. The one thing that comes out of this is I feel like I want to watch Moonlight. I think it looks like a visually very stunning film, even more so than La La Land. These people going La La for La La Land, but I don't know. Seems like most of these films will be forgotten. We'll still be talking about Dances with Wolves and JFK and The Green Mile and Shawshank and all this stuff. But I don't know. I think Moonlight. I don't know about La La Land. That seems to be something that's just like Manchester by the Sea. That's like meant to be forgotten. It's like you forget the movie even before, when you're like in the line to buy the ticket. Halfway, what am I seeing? Oh, Manchester by the Sea. You just forget about that movie like halfway, like into the movie theater with the popcorn. It's like you just we're gonna see. Also, people have been fucking infantilized with these superhero movies that they can't go and watch serious movies anymore. It's all but there were a lot of things this year that just Martin Scorsese, who is like the high priest of cinema, a living high priest of cinema. He came up with a movie this year called Silence, and very appropriately, it's named very appropriately because it was totally silent at the Academy Award. Didn't get one nomination, I don't think. What the fuck? And then Snowden. I don't think Snowden got shit. Fucking Oliver Stone, the Snowden film. What the fuck? Snowden was a pretty good movie. I saw it at the Actors. Good movie. Great stuff. Also a great theme song by Peter Gabriel, The Veil, man. 15 or 16 years ago, The Veil would have been, I don't think it was nominated for Best Song. It was all this bullshit. It was fucking, I don't know, some fucking cartoons and all fucking stupid bullshit. La La Land again. But anyway, I hope my ranting about the displeasure of everything. Well, I think there was some good little things. Go watch it online. Watch the monumental screw up the first time that the best picture has been awarded to the wrong person, and all of that stuff. A fun kind of loopy year, and it's good.